Hi, this is Taylor Price, and here's my facilities and access evaluation. I did my evaluation on Pierre Laclede Junior Academy Library. This is the school that I work at. I am the only library staff member, and I'm the library aide. The school is located in St. Louis, Missouri, and it serves 146 students preschool through eighth grade. The library itself is around 2,430 square feet, and the school was built in 1909. So let's take a quick tour. So here is the front door to the school building. So when you walk in the front door, there is the library. So when you walk in, there's two closets. One is my office, and then there's a desk with an empty shelf. We have the larger picture books. Here is the smart board. You can see it has high ceilings. There's still a good bit of clutter over here from when the library was just not being used. That's the academic resource person's stuff that she's gonna move. But I created the teen section over here, and then there's the nonfiction section, which is this, in the back wall. I just set out the things for Thanksgiving. And then you'll have the picture books. And then the chapter books are over here on the opposite side. The appearance of the library, it varies. There are some cluttered areas, as you can see in the top picture. So this area has become pretty much useless. But you can see that it is inviting in some ways, like the bottom picture, where there's dynamic shelving of favorite picture books. But I wouldn't say there's any wow factor necessarily in the library other than this dynamic shelving. The library also isn't very well supplied. There are no scissors, glue sticks, paper, crayons, pencils, nothing like that is sitting out in the library for students to use. The library is sort of centered around this theme of storybook characters. You can see these cloth wall hangings that are placed around the library. I don't think this necessarily appeals to the middle school audience, but it may appeal to the preschool through elementary school audience. However, I do think that these are a little outdated and some are falling off, which kind of contributes to the worn look. The library space is somewhat flexible, but that's something my principal and I have been talking about in order to make it more flexible. I decided to do this diagram so you could see. Over here, we have the blue, which is my library desk, and then the purple next to it, which is the rug area where I usually do my read alouds with elementary school students. Next to it, that little green sliver is my smart board where I'll do presentations or mini lessons. That big brown chunk is that where I was talking in the video about those large circulation desks and those resource materials that aren't being used. That's kind of just taking up space. The yellow represents the stacks, and then the red is the tables that are placed in the middle of the library. The tables could sort of be moved around theoretically. Maybe you can move some over to the rug or closer to the smartboard, but there isn't very much flexibility, especially in that brown area where the circulation desks would be in the way. As far as accessibility goes, there are a few pros and a few cons. The pros: there's lots of natural light in the library. It has super high ceilings. There's this gorgeous wall of windows. So there's not a lot of need for the indoor lights, the harsh fluorescents. Even if the indoor lights are on, they're not fluorescent, and you don't have to turn all of them on at once for that really jarring effect. There are wide walkways at the exits. Where the chapter books and the nonfiction books are, there are also wide walkways, and they're very wheelchair accessible. They are definitely 3 feet, and the tables have enough knee and leg room to comply with the ADA checklist. The library also has materials that would fit the high-low text description, where the content is made for higher grade levels, but the reading level is maybe a little bit lower and more accessible. Some of the cons of the what we need to work on in the library as far as accessibility goes, there are no room identification signs outside of the room. There are not even any in print, and there's definitely not any in braille. So we need to get some of those. There is a very narrow walkway next to the picture books because the tables and chairs are pressed up against them. So it's not a very clear walkway, which is a problem regardless. It's kind of a universal design problem. And it would be nice to move those tables and chairs out a little bit, or kind of put them elsewhere. The rug that for story time is also not secured to the floor, and it has corners that tend to flip up and they're easy to trip over. A big con in the library also is that we don't have any audiobooks, we have no large print books, braille, or any assistive devices. As far as safety concerns in the library, the exits are not marked with exit signs, and there's no fire escape route posted on the doors. However, all areas of the space are visible, except the closets, but they stay locked. There are no student electronic devices in the library to watch out for, and there are no other hazards. The signage in the library is pretty inconsistent. Shit. Can this? The signage in the library is pretty inconsistent. There are signs, as you can see here, for the categories of different nonfiction genres, but not all of the nonfiction genres have signs yet. There's also no signage for picture books or for the chapter books. However, of course, there are the small letters indicating the last name of each author on the shelves, but are about maybe 2.5 inches, but they would need to be 3 inches to be ADA compliant. The fact that the signs are in English reflects the primary language of our library's users. The schedule for the library is a pretty flexible schedule. However, we do have class schedules built in with the flexible schedule. So as you can see, pretty much every day in the mornings, I have 30-minute rotations of every preschool through eighth come throughout the week for 30 minutes. Every class does. And then in the afternoons on Mondays, Tuesdays, I have individual student checkout so they can get a hall pass from their teacher and come and check out books and browse around in the library. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 1:30 to 2:30, I have open sign up, which just basically means if the class has anything they want to research in particular, that is a time for them to come and use library resources or to do a mini lesson or collaborate together. That is basically what that is for. And then my lunch is from 12 to 12:30, and then my plan is from 12:30 to 1:20 every day. To synthesize, Pierre Laclede School Library has beautiful bones, a flexible space, and a flexible schedule, but an outdated design and inconsistent signage. The library has a few steps to go before meeting every item on ADA's library accessibility checklist. It could benefit also from a declutter and a restock of supplies. The areas of strength for the library are the dynamic shelving, especially in the teens section and in the favorites section, and the flexible scheduling that allows not only individual student checkout outside of their normal scheduled class library time, but also time for groups or also the whole class to come and do research or collaborate in the library space. Suggestions for improvement: removing the storybook hangings from the walls as they're outdated, getting rid of the junk zone and those chunky circulation desks, and maybe adding some more flexible seating, adding more large print and audiobooks, and just becoming ADA compliant.